Patient, never try skating. Fuck niggas hating.
In the early stages of dating, and not just with one woman, just when you're younger, a little bit more naive. This is no slight to any man out there, but one thing that we definitely, I know from experience, believed is possible that really isn't, is you can't change a woman. You know, how what you see is what you get. You know, it's a as is situation. You know, what Ashanti say in that song? The things that we accept be the things that we regret. Well, when you accept a woman as is, especially up front, and she's able to show you certain aspects of her character, you have to believe who she's showing you to be, showing you that she is, and then 2, you have to accept the reality that this is who she is. And a lot of times, one thing that I like to do in real life, in my life, is I like to allow people to be exactly who they want to be. So I give anybody, my friends, family members, and especially women that I'm trying to date, I give them the ability to, you know, be free as far as their opinions, the way that they talk, move, act, respond. Because the reason why I love and I definitely want someone to feel free and unjudged is because that gives me an opportunity to see how they'd prefer to behave without my influence, especially when, you know, people tend to show up with their representatives in the very beginning of a relationship, including myself. I have a representative. There's things I would say if this camera wasn't rolling. It'd be like beep, beep, beep. You know what I'm saying? I can definitely have a difference in customer character traits. You know what I mean? So I think the same thing is true as far as women. And when you allow her to be her raw self and she feels free, there's a lot of things that are going to happen for you, brother. There's a lot of things. You're going to be shown who she is, because she's going to be like, oh, okay, this man isn't judgmental. She's going to drop those guards by default, and then she's going to show you things that you might need to know in order for you to make a good decision on whether or not this is somebody that is a potential partner for you. But when you are upfront trying to not control, but you're coming off as if you're very judgmental and you're like skeptical about little things, and she's going to be tense. She's not going to get loose. She's not going to reveal her true character to you, and she's going to be her representative longer, and then you end up in a relationship. By the time she snatches that mask off and shows you who she really is, you guys done wasted a year, 2-3 years. You know, and now it's a tougher detachment when you guys have to break up. So in this video, I want to go over a couple of things that you can never change about a woman, and therefore you shouldn't even attempt to. This is why it's good to just let her be free to show you who she really is, and then you just make a decision based off of the information you gather, you know what I mean, and never come off judgmental. This isn't a manipulation tactic. It can be viewed as that, but it really isn't. It's just, hey, you know, when I'm dealing with people, you can be who you want to be. I'm going to be who I want to be. Who I might be might change your perspective of me, and that's fine, because I want to be my true self. I don't want to live in a representative's body for too long, and then, you know, my mask finally slips, and then the real version of me has to show up, and then you don't like me anymore. So, yeah, I mean, and then also in closing, before I get started with this video, a lot of women watch online content as well, guys. We got to keep this in mind. I mean, the things that I'm saying to you, there's women who watch this channel. There's other male content. Women are watching these channels, and they are learning how us men talk, think, what we look for, what we want, in order for them to learn how to, you know, behave around us. Some might be doing it with the positive motive or intentions. Others might be doing it to figure out how to finesse a man and how to pretend in order to get the things that they need or want out of men, based off of who they pretend to be. Okay, so a woman could be pretending to be a submissive woman because she's heard in every last video in the manosphere that we like submissive women. You know what I mean? And then, so she thinks that she's going to remain calm and agree with everything that we say, and we're going to believe that she's submissive, and then she's going to get what she wants because our egos are being stroked by this woman. Okay? So this is why I will allow somebody to be who they truly want to be. Let me jump right into it. Okay. One thing, I have 10. Number one thing that we just cannot control about a woman, period, shouldn't even try, is who her influencers are. It doesn't matter if it's a social media influencer, if it's a preacher, a therapist, if it's a friend, someone she looks up to, a parent, a family member. You have to understand that these are things that take place in our early age when we determine that somebody is a role model to us, and we take a liking to someone's style of behavior. It doesn't matter. It can be good. It can be bad. I mean, for instance, let's say you yourself are an empathic man, but earlier on you were raised by your dad, and your dad happened to be an abusive guy, or maybe even a little bit narcissistic. There's going to be a couple of traits that you potentially adopt from your father that gives you narcissistic traits, even though you are an empathic man. I know it sounds a little bit complicated because the two character types on the different sides of the spectrum. Narcissism is opposite of empathy, or they lack empathy. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, her influencers could have dropped her gems, a way of thinking or moving that you can never change about a woman. This woman swears by her influences and tips, tricks, advice, and all of that stuff. For instance, myself, I was raised by a single mother, and my mom has always worked, and I want a woman who has a job. So a traditional woman wouldn't be right for me, because traditional women tend to be these women who don't want to work. They want to be stay-at-home moms and stuff like that. Even if I was a rich man, I'd want a woman who at least owned her own hair salon or had a clothing line or some kind of idea, something that kept her moving and working as well. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I would need a woman who has things going on outside of me that benefit her and fulfill her, so that the onus isn't on me as far as being the one that she's relying on to entertain her 24/7, because I'll be a busy man, and for making her feel happy, that's not even possible. But that, you see where I'm going with this. Okay, so you cannot change who her influences are. And this is, and in closing on this topic, on this point here, is that there are a lot of people that try to change who your influencers are by trying to isolate you from people that they feel like are a bad influence on you. Okay, or you might think that you're going to do that to a woman. It's not possible. Okay, this woman is in some kind of way, whether it's a telepathic ability, where it's a mind to mind thing, because that person's in her mind, she's going to be able to stay attached to her influencers, regardless if you think it's possible to isolate her from such people. Okay, number two thing you can't change about a woman is how she feels about herself. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you would rate her, 1 to 10, as far as her being a dime. It doesn't matter if you think she's the most prettiest woman or she's a 4 or a 5. The way she views herself, the way she feels about herself, you can't change. So let's say that you thought this was the most beautiful woman you ever seen in your life, and let's say that she thought she was ugly. No amount of validation, admiration, words of affirmation, confidence boosters, anything that you're going to try to do to big up and blow up her head and make her feel more confident, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do for this woman. Okay, these are one of those things that you want to take a woman, again, at face value. If this woman is conceited, or if this woman is insecure, that is a decision that she has made on her own, and there's no influence that you can have, whether you're trying to be pure intentioned or positive or optimistic about it or not. If you're trying to tear her down and destroy her confidence, these things are not things that we as men should try to control. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't give your woman, validation and admiration and tell her she's beautiful. It definitely shouldn't be something that you feel like you need to do on a every single second of the day basis. You can, if that's your style and your love language. But if you feel like you have to constantly boost a woman's self-esteem, this is something that's never going to work. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're trying, hopefully this doesn't, I'm not talking to manipulative men who would try to tear a woman down or try to convince a woman that she's less attractive than what she really is. I'd rather have a woman who is a little bit more confident than she is insecure, but no one wants a cocky woman either. But, you know, we'll never try to tear a woman down. It would just annoy us if she was thinking in her head that she was more attractive than she really was. But my point is, we shouldn't have to or want to have to change the way a woman views herself. She should already have enough self-love and self-value and respect so that it's at a level to where it's attractive to us. And this should be reciprocated too. But my videos are for men about women. They're not for women or to women. Okay, so you cannot change how she views herself. Okay, number 3 that you'll never change about a woman is her goals and or ambition. There are a lot of women who might want to be an independent woman, and they might want to be a woman who wants to have a career job. And I don't think this is an area where we should be trying to tell a woman to quit her job, quit her goals, or, you know, her hobbies, or anything that she feels that might give her fulfillment. We should support a woman in this department. But also, if a woman has no goals and ambition, you're not going to influence her to gain some. Anything that she does, if she doesn't have any, if she does any to appease you, they're going to be done just to shut you up. It's going to be temporary. She's going to hop from career to career or hobby to hobby. There's nothing going to be sustainable because it's not what she wanted to do. It's you thought that you could influence her to get up off her butt and go to work. This woman, her goals and her ambitions are a self thing. Okay, there's something that you can't determine for a woman. You can't go get a woman and then decide that you don't want her to work, and then she quits her job and you pay all the bills and expect her to have feelings of fulfillment while neglecting things that she always wanted to do with her life. Okay, there are a lot of men who would expect a woman to drop all of her goals, all of her ambitious goals and dreams and hobbies and things that she felt fulfilled by doing. Maybe she's a photographer, who knows what it is, and just be happy with downgrading her life to just being some housewife who cooks and cleans and takes care of the kids. This woman should be allowed to do whatever it is she wants to do. And again, by seeing what a woman wants to do organically, she's going to show you who she really is. A woman should feel free when around you. And you know, this isn't one of my typical videos where everything is going to be regarding a toxic woman in general. But if she is a toxic woman, allow her to be who she really is so she can show you who she really is. The more you try to control her, the more she's going to put up this defense, and she's going to put up cover-ups and wear masks, and you're not going to ever, you might find out later, but it's going to take a lot longer for you to find out who she really is. Number 4 thing you can never change about a woman is her spirituality. Again, this is something that comes from our adolescence ages. You know, my religious backgrounds and moral compass comes from the way I was raised. My grandfather was a preacher. Although I'm a sinner and I'm a self-aware sinner, I still have a very strong connection with spirituality and with Christianity. And that's just the way I was brought up. For me to date a woman who had a different religion or didn't believe in religion or anything like that, I would know that, she can't change my religious beliefs, and I wouldn't even dare try to change her religious beliefs. Religion and is just like politics. Those are two of the harshest, two topics that you never really want to talk about with people, but because they start arguments and disagreements, and people tend to not want to deal with each other because of their differences. But when you're dating a woman, this is very important. You want to know where she stands as far as religion. And I wouldn't want a woman who joins my religion to appease me, but doesn't get into it because it's not what she believes in. And her spirituality, period, could have other things attached to it morally, and as far as beliefs and as far as behaviors and traditions and stuff like that. And I would want to know those things about this woman, unjudgmental, of course, so that I can see where she's coming from and see what she believes in and what is her moral compass based on, so that I can know who I'm dealing with. But trying to tell someone and force someone to believe in what you believe in isn't going to work. It's just going to start a fight. It's going to build resentment, and then you're going to find her in a situation where she backs off of you. You know what I mean? If you're catching anything so far from this video, is I don't promote controlling anybody. Not my friends, not my women, not anybody. And I would advise you allow people to feel free in their own skin while around you. This is how you get the best results out of people, as far as compatibility, longevity, as far as authenticity. Letting people be who they are. Don't try to change a woman. It's not even possible to begin with, and you don't want to build your own monster. And by build your own monster, I mean this woman is pretending to be everything that you said you liked. Okay? Because she knows that if she goes against that grain, or she shows you who she really is, that it's going to create problems within that relationship. So now she's forced to pretend while with you, versus you allowing her to be who she really is, and things that aren't that big of a deal you don't have to discuss, as far as your differences. But things that just do not work for you, then you can make an adjustment based off of that. If it's not the one for you, because the things that she likes to do organically, you can move around. Okay. Number 5 thing that you cannot control about a woman is her intentions. Okay. I mean, come on. There's really nothing that you can even do about this, but there are going to be people who have good intentions, but there are also going to be people that you're going to meet that appear to have good intentions, but really their intentions aren't so pure. They are accustomed to using manipulation tactics in order to get their needs met. This is also something that is learned younger in life, especially with dealing with narcissistic women. We have to understand how narcissism is brought about. We first are 100% reliant on another human being or a caregiver to provide us everything we need, including our food, our nurturing, everything. Our diapers need to be changed. We are fully dependent on another human being. If that human being has a couple of things that are off, or the way that they treated us was like we were a burden. They laid down and brought us into this world, but then they treat us like we were a burden. This may force a human being at a very young age to think that they need to do, in order to get their needs met, they have to do it on their own. No one's going to come and help me out. Now, being that they lack the ability, the smarts, the know-how, the strength to do everything the right way on their own, they develop manipulative tactics. Okay, so when you are a kid and you are pouting to get what you want, and you're throwing tantrums, and then someone gives in to what you need, then you think to yourself, okay, in order to get my needs met, I have to be a brat. I have to act entitled to things. And then people will bow down to my requests. So as an adult, you're in your 20s and 30s. This is still something that's stained in your brain that you think that works when playing on the empathy of others. That is how a narcissist is bred. And that's just one of the arenas that, as far as how that narcissism personality is created. But as you see, it starts when you are young. This is something that you cannot control. You cannot control someone's intentions. It's best for you to observe their intentions. You know what I'm saying? If their intention is to get their needs met by all means necessary, that's how they're going to move. There's nothing you're going to do to change it. No conversation is going to fix it. And if they do make any adjustments to the way that they behave, if possible, it will be a decision that was their own. Okay, something tragic may have to happen. Hopefully not. I don't wish harm on anybody. But in order for them to make adjustments in their life, they have to get to a point to where it no longer serves them in the way that they would like to feel fulfilled. Okay, just like myself. And to bring this point to a close, I spent a lot of years being a player and racking up a body count and being the guy that lied to women. Yep, I sure did. I'm not proud of what I did, but one thing I had to wake up finally later on is there's a couple of things that happened in my life that made me want to change my ways. Number one is when I started getting treated the way I had treated women, I didn't like it. It hurt. And I was like, oh, it's hypocritical for me to continue going around treating women like that when I don't like it myself. And secondly, I desire more out of a relationship. I wanted something that was more sustainable. I'm getting older. My kids are getting older. Eventually, I'm going to be by myself unless I buckle down and find me a compatible mate that I can spend quality time with long term. To me, these are common sense things, but that's just the desire of my own heart. So I had to make adjustments so that I can align myself with the potential of getting those desires met in a more righteous way. To each their own, though. Number 16 that you cannot control is her sexual desires. Some women desire women. You might be a straight man who is with a woman who is bisexual. And there's nothing that you're going to say to this woman to convince her that that is wrong, or that that's not the way we were intended to be. Okay. This might be a tough situation because you just might not cut it for this woman. There are men who like women who like women. There are men who are into polygamy and open relationships. And you might be a woman who has that kind of mind. Her compatible mate would be somebody who is into polygamy and open relationships. And that's why it's important that you allow a woman to be free to be who she wants to be so she can show you these things. Because the last thing that you'd want is to be in a long-term 10-year relationship with a woman who is secretly skipping around town with another woman. Because she knows, again, this is something that she has to hide from you because she wasn't given that free space. Now, if this is something that you are not willing to prepare or, tolerate, then you shouldn't be with a woman who likes women. I personally don't want a woman who likes women. That's why this topic is very important to me. I'm not one of these guys who think lesbian behavior is cute. I don't want a woman who likes to do that. I've dated women who have, and there was always some kind of issue in that department. Her sex drive, the things that she wanted, her wanting to involve toys in the activities. I'm like, we're not doing none of that. I'm a straight regular guy. Okay, I'm not that over the top and that open-minded when it comes to sex. I am, but at the same time, I am not to that degree. Okay, I've never had a threesome or desired one, so I'm not missing out on anything. It wasn't one of my desires. But that's enough personal information on that subject. My point is just to bring up that these are things that you cannot change about a woman if she desires to have an open relationship or she desires multiple partners of different sexes. Okay. Number 7 thing that you cannot control about a woman is her passive aggressive tendencies. Now, we could look at passive aggression as being a manipulation tactic, but sometimes it is also going to be attached to someone with insecurities, someone with low self-esteem, someone who cares too much about what other people think. Again, we are talking about the same thing. Someone who is being passive aggressive is going to be somebody that is trying to hide their true feelings of negativity and aggression and anger. And they do this by appearing to be nice. Sometimes it cracks through the mask and it comes off as sarcasm. Okay, and a little bit bitter, and you're like, what's going on? Are you happy or are you mad? I'm not mad at all. No, I ain't tripping. Nope, I'm good. You're like, you're clearly mad. Okay, but when somebody is made to feel okay about having a disagreement or being in their feelings and being angry and allowed to express those feelings, they just let it out. Pressure wouldn't build, because the longer you let pressure build, it comes to a head, and then it's a big nuclear explosion versus a tiny little firecracker of an issue that can be resolved with a basic conversation. But this is something that you can't help. You can assist in giving her freedom, but someone who has already been made to be passive aggressive, this is a lifetime of experiences. This is something that's on based off of their own personal beliefs or of themselves and the way they view themselves, that you have no ability to adjust. And it may take time if you're willing to accept that. But she still has to make the changes on her own. Passive aggression is one of my deal breakers in a relationship, because I don't want some woman to act happy and be pissed at the same time. I want a woman who's pissed to act pissed, and I want a woman who's happy to be happy. Okay, there's nothing you can do about a woman who doesn't believe that she has the freedom to express herself honestly, which is the best policy. There's nothing you can do about that. So when you notice that you are dealing with a passive aggressive woman, you have to take it as is. Then you have to see, and if you are allowing her to be free to be who she really is, then you'll be able to make a decision on if whether or not that's the most compatible situation for you to be in. Number 8, her ability to take accountability. We all know that women, they're allergic to this. Okay, we know that women in general can be allergic to taking accountability, but not all women. But you know, the ability to take accountability means if a woman has that means that she knows how to process her shame. Shame being like when you know that you have done something wrong and you get that pit in your stomach and in your chest and you feel so embarrassed that you did that. Some people run from that feeling, and to avoid feelings of shame, which can easily break a man or a woman down. But for the sake of this video, we're talking about women. It can easily break a woman down for her to have to deal with that shame. She would rather run from it. She would rather cover things up. She would rather avoid having that conversation so that she doesn't have to feel so bad. And not even to defend her, but imagine if you felt horrible and then someone kicked you while you were down. It's not a fun place to be extremely vulnerable to someone's criticism or them taking a dagger and just poking it in you when you're already opening up and showing them where you're wrong at, and then they poke at that very thing and they use it against you. So in order for you to get to a place of taking more accountability, you have to be in a place where you are given the freedom to make mistakes and then to learn from those mistakes. And then, you know, it's okay if you apologize and then you can have a good bounce back when dealing with somebody. So also when dealing with accountability, it requires that a person doesn't lie to themselves. Okay. And doesn't avoid the shame, and actually one who desires harmony and peace. When somebody desires harmony and peace in a relationship, therefore they're not toxic, they don't like chaos and drama, they're more than likely going to be the type that apologize quicker and takes accountability and connects with shame and deals with it properly and processes it properly so that they can get back to having a harmonious life. Okay, so it's important to know this. There's nothing that you're not going to force a woman to take accountability, especially if you aren't the type of mild-tempered, calm fella who allows people to be themselves around you. That's the purpose of this video. If you're listening, let people, especially women, be who they want to be. Don't try to dictate anything about a woman. When you meet her, say, hey, I don't judge. You can be whoever it is you want to be. What's the point of me having you be what I want you to be? And if that's not what you want to be, you'll just be pretending the whole time. Be you, boo-boo. And she's going to see this over, over time with you being consistent in your ability to allow her to be who she really wants to be. She's going to start dropping defenses, and she's going to start speaking how she normally talks, and she's going to become more free. And then you are going to see everything that you need to know. And if you happen to see something that you are not willing to tolerate, well, guess what, brother? You didn't have to pry it out of her. Trust your boy. Number 9, and I only have 10. Number 9 is her addictive personality. Okay. Lust is a battle we all go through, and your ability to control your lust has to be done by you. It has to be done by you. If a woman is, this is another thing that she'll show you, and if you listen closely, you'll hear when a woman's talking is her addictive personality. You can watch. If she's an alcoholic, a drug addict, a sex addict, a fiend, anything like that, you will see this. But again, if you are trying to control a woman and you come off as this man who is very controlling, that requires a woman to act a certain kind of way, even if you do want a woman to act a certain kind of way, you can't require it out of her. You can require your partner to be a certain kind of way, yes, but you can't demand that she be that kind of way, because that might not be who she is. But if you have a non-judgmental approach at dating, people are more than likely to show you who they really are. And you will see all of their addictions. They will tell you, because they might come to you for help. I don't know how to quit smoking cigarettes. I want to. Not me personally. I'm saying that's what somebody, I don't smoke, but that might be something that a woman would tell you. And then you know that she smokes cigarettes. There's so many times that I've dated a woman, and one of the first questions I ask her is, do you smoke or drink? And then they'll say sometimes. But then when I'm around them, they are a habitual smoker. And I'd be like, she lied about that. That goes into my brain. She doesn't know that I'm calculating this. But I'm observing her behavior. I'm like, she lied about that. Sometimes, but you do it all the time, there's a little bit of a lie there. Okay? You have to allow people the freedom. Hey, I don't judge. If you smoke, you smoke. Yeah, I smoke. You just got the truth out of her. You don't turn around and say, I knew you was lying about it. Nah, you say, okay, cool. If it's something that you don't want to deal with, then you don't date a woman who smokes. Lastly, number 10, her love. Let me break this one down, okay? Contrary to popular belief, love is a choice because love is reflected through our actions, and only we have control over our actions and reactions to things. Love is associated with emotions, because it's not an emotion. It's associated with emotions of fulfillment, of gratification, dopamine, and feelings of happiness. So whenever you feel any kind of feeling of fulfillment, gratification, dopamine, and excitement and happiness, you may begin to love something. And love still being an action that has to be shown. See, you can have somebody who says, I love you, and then smacks you. I love you, and then cheats on you. I love you, and then steals from you. I love you, but is manipulative towards you. Which one do you believe? What they said or what they did? Because someone's going to disagree with me and tell me that love is an emotion. If love was an emotion, then it would be something that was not so easy for you to take back. It will be something that's not so easy for you to shut off. And a lot of people believe that love is something that they can't shut off. If I love you, I love you. There's nothing I can do about it. Yes, there is. You ever heard that phrase, I can love you from a distance? I can hope for the best for you. I could not wish you any harm, but choose to retract my love, the actions of it, and not deal with you, and you don't even see me. To not be around you, is that to love you? How does someone know they love you? And let's flip it. Okay? If I abandoned you and didn't want to be near you and didn't trust you, and I would call you once a year, didn't even check in with you, can I tell you, all right, love you, bros, and you believe me? Now, of course, if there's someone who went off to the military, of course, someone who took a job across the country or the world, of course, they have their own things going on. We have people in our family that we love, or have good feelings or emotions about. But let's still break it down to where love is still something that requires action. Okay? If we keep the perspective of love being something that requires action, and it can't just be felt and thought, but it has to be delivered, then we'll separate that from our emotions. We might have feelings of empathy. We might have feelings of concern for somebody. And those feelings is what give us the thought, or we feel like we love somebody. And we can tell somebody, I love you. Love is something that you can tell somebody that you love. That is pretty much going to validate your feelings for them. But just to say that doesn't foot the bill. You need to show someone that you love them. You have to show up for them. You have to support them. You have to respect them. You have to be compassionate towards them, nurturing towards them. Okay, you have to be romantic towards them, given the dynamic of each said relationship. Okay, so love is an action, And we control that. We can make a choice to love somebody physically or not. But love isn't an emotion. It is associated with emotions that make us love somebody. That these emotions we have make us physically act a certain kind of way towards somebody. Okay, that's why we have love languages: words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, physical touch, and quality time. These things are all actions, things that you have to either actively say or do to show someone you love them. Okay, now that being said, back to you cannot control her love. If she is not putting out, she's not having any intimacy with you, but she says she loves you, something's off. If she just says it, but she doesn't do it, something's off. And to force a woman and tell her, I need more of this. If you love me, you'll do this. Again, you are just putting her in a position where she'd have to act. She'd do this behind your back, and then whatever it is you asked her to do, she'll do it. Now, don't you want authentic, genuine love that isn't forced? And we cannot control who she loves, when she loves, or what she loves. It may not be you. It may be somebody else. Back to my original point in making this video, this is one of the 10 things that we should allow someone to freedom to show us who they really are, what she really loves, how she shows her love. And then say, okay, this woman isn't accustomed to real love. She doesn't know how to show it. She just talks about it. I don't want to deal with that. And you being non-judgmental and allowing her the free space to be her real self would show you that. So this is 10 things that you cannot control about a woman and shouldn't even try to, in order for you to actually see who she really is and for you to have peace in your own life too. People shouldn't try to control you in these areas either. But all my content is pure intentioned. You know, it's definitely spiritually based material, and it will help you on your journey to a better life. I'm not teaching you how to manipulate anybody. I hope you do find this content helpful. If you do, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. But if you are new to my channel, my name is Jerome, and this has been yet another episode of The Superb Word. Until next time, y'all know what it is. All right.